Hi, welcome to the webinar of today. I'm Alain Provost, accompanied by Brandon.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Clark. Been working here at Solid Experts for about 7 years now as a solutions specialist, particularly in DriveWorks. It's been a fair amount of time, but maybe not as long as you, Alain.
Just a few years more. So yeah, been here for about 11 years now. So I'll be joining Brandon in this webinar, talking about automation for you and bringing you the solutions that we offer for that. So I'll do the corporate dull stuff. I have the perfect guy to talk about automation here. So I'll do the dull stuff. I'll let the excitement come from Brendan here. We do have a team, a complete team of people here to help you out in any of those domains that we do offer solutions. So don't hesitate to give us a call. We are 100% dedicated in those solutions. We have offices, actually, Montreal, Quebec, Nashua, Toronto. So we're all scattered around to be able to help you wherever you are. We also have the 3D printing and their consumable that we also supply. And one of the things we're very proud is the certification that we do take our guys, us, to be able to give you all what is the best experience possible on those products. On the services side, let's see what we do. What do we do? Well, we support you. We do also optimization into your companies, consultation on those products. That's why Brandon is here today to talk about that. Training, very important. We do the training, the coaching on all those solutions. So no worries, we have people to train you correctly. Integration of those solutions also, because it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not only a click and you're on the go. Huh? So that, and also with the 3D and consumables, don't forget that there's scanning that goes with that too, that we do offer, and we also consult on that. So let's see our dedicated team of DriveWorks. Well, we know Brandon now, he's presented himself. We have Moussa Abdi, and we have also Christopher Kudo that are all specialists. Moussa is managing the team and the projects of DriveWorks. So if we go on, well, we want to be sure that the automation that you have maybe in mind and everything is going to be pinpoint with where your objective are with those projects. So selling digitally is more and more often now in nowadays. We're all having a phone and checking if we need something, if we can buy it online. Yep. So why not you too at your company? Plus, why would we go to products like these? Well, because there are repetitive tasks that are dull and killing the labor work. Maybe improve the quality of those products.
Absolutely.
And reduce the cost of those custom design, because every time a customer just asks for a little changes here and there and that, and we take our product and make those changes, the human or the team that does those changes is costly. Okay, so we're going to talk about how quickly you will be able to respond to those inquiries and gain competitive advantage because of those solutions. So that product is DriveWorks, the perfect partner for automation. Our agenda of today is going to be introduction of DriveWorks, the DriveWorks solution. Brandon will help me out on that too. And we have the perfect guy to do the CPQ example for us. And at the end, comparison, we'll have a Q&A session also before thanking you for our webinar. And please stay until the end, because there's going to be something for you guys at the end. All right? I won't say anymore. So stay with us. Introduction of DriveWorks. So what's what's about DriveWorks? Well, they are inside SolidWorks solutions since 2001. It's one of the oldest golden partner of SolidWorks.
I was in grade 1 at that time.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they are focused developing innovative, robust, and easy to use software since that time. So Brandon will talk about how DriveWorks is a solution that you can own also. So we are a reseller of that solution. They do business through resellers, so we are your first point of contact for those solutions, and we have the expertise to do so. Going forward, who is it for?
Technically, everybody. By definition, everybody who has similar products that are also different.
Similar and different. That comes often when we talk about DriveWorks.
Quite often.
All right, so it says that it's set up by you and used by anyone who has the permission to use it. That's true, and we're proud to say that. Yeah, we do consult on that. We do train you, coach you, and we do that so that you can own your solution also.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's the main point, I think.
Yep.
We're already at point 2, and that's the DriveWorks solution. So we're going to look at those solutions and see what they're about. But mainly, there's always six questions that comes about when you think about automation. And if you answer only one of these with yes, well, I think you're just due to have a DriveWorks solution, okay? So talk to us about it. You saw yourself in one of those 6 points, why not? Contact us. So here we go. There's 3 solutions in DriveWorks. The Express, the Solo, and the Pro. So if we start with the DriveWorks Express, what does it do, Brandon?
So, of course, the biggest subject that we're really addressing here when we're looking at DriveWorks is automation, or specifically, anybody who's worked with SolidWorks for a little bit of time may know what I'm talking about when I say parametric modeling. The concept of going into a 3D model, you make some changes and everything adjusts as it should. Instead of exploding and falling into error and eating more of your time in order to get it up to speed, you can make equations, you can make small interfaces in SolidWorks. And to be honest, as a man who's done that work already in the past, it can help automate some of the processes in your drafting department. But it could be complicated to set up, it could be complicated to maintain, it might not always be reliable. The beauty is with DriveWorks Express, for example, is it eliminates the complexity of the steps of trying to parameterize that model. Once you've cleaned up your model of anything that can break, DriveWorks Express allows you to take control of these models easy and quickly. And more importantly, it's free with every single license of SolidWorks that you buy.
Oh, and by free, meaning, how about activating your product? So why not go into tools inside SolidWorks, go in Express tools and click on DriveWorks Express. It will ask you to go on your My SolidWorks and automatically will know what computer is trying to seek that code. So it will read the serial number and give you a code that you will be able to enter and activate your product. It's very easy, okay? So try it. Now we're going to talk a little bit about DriveWorks Solo. For me, when first people ask me what's the difference, what does Solo does that Express doesn't do, it's going to do a little more. Brandon is going to explain that to us, but keep in mind, it says Solo, so it's helping the person that using it on his SolidWorks.
Precisely that. And just to make sure that the image of what exactly these tools are clear, when it comes to Express, Solo, and Pro, we're addressing different levels. So I think we could all understand that means with every level you go up, opens up more options, or vice versa, with every level you go down will limit your options. So with DriveWorks Express, what do you get? The ability to capture your 2D model. You can capture to capture your 3D model, to capture any 2D models affiliated to it, and it's going to generate a new set of files with a new name in a generic place where you're more than welcome to go and do a pack and go afterwards and move it towards where you like. However, coming into the Solo, category, now you have control over the nomenclature of your parts. You can standardize the way parts are named, assemblies are named, drawings are made. You can also capture elements of drawings like scales in order to make sure that when they're generated that they adjust a little bit better afterwards. As when pieces get longer, shorter, views, everything's going to need to adjust. It doesn't stop there though. The options that you're allowed to set up as an interface for yourself they offer more in Solo than they would in Express. Express, they're very limited options, basic check boxes, yes and no's, menu boxes, but you get a little bit more to offer when it comes to Solo. You can have a much nicer interface that, as you can see, is accessible directly within SOLIDWORKS on the side. And as my friend Alain mentioned here, generally speaking, Express and Solo are going to be mostly useful towards the drafters themselves in the engineering departments, as the generations of these models are happening on the same computer that they're configuring them on the side.
So it's kind of locking down that computer. If they do use the solution and it's generating stuff, that's the only thing it's going to do. You cannot do anymore.
The only time, and during that time of generation, indeed.
So you take your coffee in that meantime, okay? All right, so the next solution is naturally the DriveWorks Pro solution, but I'm gonna let you stay at the edge of your seat, sir. Brendan is gonna talk a little bit more about what it can do, but you see that the package here is more and can do more, all right? So I'll let Brendan talk about that, but just to keep in mind, what you're about to see with DriveWorks Pro is more on the side of being able to create a CPQ, a 3D sales configurator. It's not just helping the guy that's using its own station to make his life easier. Now it's on the company level that the life is going to be made easier. Let's talk about interactive 3D visualization, integration to other system of the company maybe, and also have a true guided selling item for your customizable stuff, less errors, right? So we're at that point of the presentation. Here, I leave the floor to Brendan, and they're all yours.
All right, folks. So when we talk about DriveWorks Pro, to me, that is the Cadillac of DriveWorks. Effectively, you're at the highest level of power when it comes to DriveWorks, thus meaning you have the most possible options that are available to you. The CPQ that I'm going to be showing you here right now is an example of a project that you can find on driveworkslive.com, as well as a variety of other projects that you yourself can go on right now, and you can try them all out. And bear in mind that any project that you try out is all 100% made in DriveWorks, which includes the interface that you see here, for example, which is a project that's made for a HVAC company, a generic HVAC company that does a variety of different modules, for example. Everything we see in this interface was 100% made within DriveWorks. Every button, every dynamic menu that changes, every table that we see of a summary is 100% made in DriveWorks. Now, personally, as a guy who's had experience in HTML and CSS programming, it's not a good time setting up a website, let alone trying to link it towards your ERP with your engineering department, having sales incorporated in on this. There's not many tools out there that are able to address all of them, especially at a comfortable pace. So what we're seeing right now, I'm just going ahead and configuring several modules. Whatever modules I might need for my HVAC needs, for example, and we can see that the menus are updating every step of the way. Now, I've only been talking about 2Ds and 3Ds up until now, but as Elliot stated, DriveWorks Pro is able to advance you across all departments and not necessarily just engineering. With DriveWorks Pro, you have access to DriveWorks Live, which will allow you to make a web page like this that could be accessible directly for your clients or your distributors, for example. Or maybe you only want to use it internally with your sales agents. This could be used by marketing. This could be used by engineering. This could also be used by production. That's the fun part about DriveWorks, is you have the ability to expand the scale upon which it can lay its hands out to increase revenue, to increase production. And as you can see here, quick point to note, I even just put my email and my contact information in here, which means I'm able to automate things like email sending processes, document generation processes, which I'll show you a quick example of. What we see right now is the models that I just came to configure in that menu are being generated one at a time. But here's the best part. Like mentioned with Express and Solo, those generations happen in your computer. So if you got a big generation to do, you're probably going to want to go take that coffee that Ali was talking about. Yeah. But with DriveWorks Pro, we have the DriveWorks Autopilot, where you can then have a separate machine that is 100% dedicated to doing all your model generations in the background. Meaning, your drafters have significantly less work. They fill out the interface, they press generate, and then they wait for that model to finish generating in order to advance it further. And above all, you're able to establish a workflow within DriveWorks Pro. This is how you connect your departments together, having states of approval, having steps to determine what should be launched where, who should have the right to approve of which documents when you get to those steps. What we can see here is my autopilot's just coming to finish a process of generating all of the models that I've just come to configure one at a time in the process. And there's one more thing that I haven't mentioned. This to me personally is the cream of the crop of DriveWorks. You have the final assembly. What does that mean? So up until now, everything you've seen, we've configured, these are modules that exist as a master model. You capture it and it just regenerates the same model with the changes you want. But right now, this isn't a master model. What DriveWorks is doing for me is it's building the final assembly from all of the models it just generated for me in the process. And the fun doesn't stop there either, which you'll see a little bit later on in this example, is it's also able to generate your drawings for you as well and try to predict the scale to make sure that, in essence, if it can't do 100% of the generation properly, then at least a good 80 to 90% is done, thus optimizing the time for your drafters altogether.
Well, basically, either you make automation to a part, many parts, or the complete assembly, it's gonna accelerate your work anyhow. So it doesn't need to be 100% of the whole thing you want to automate. But if you automate 50, 75, 80%, wow, that's a lot already.
You're saving 50, 70, or 85% of the time, which over
Exactly.
a year can be quite a lot of time for salaries, that's for sure.
Okay.
And as we can see here, we have a good example of a document generated, which I have another example coming up as well. So what types of documents can you generate off of DriveWorks Pro? Well, you're not just limited, of course, to Word documents. You have the option of generating, like for example, what you see here, PDFs. You can generate Word documents, Excel documents, XML documents, JSON documents, HTML documents. I could probably spend the next 30 minutes going on the types of documents that you can generate. From your 3D format, you can export virtually almost any format you would need. IGS, STEP, DXF, eDrawings. Virtually everything that you could ever need to export from this model can also be automated in the process. And as you can see as an example on the right side of the screen here, we get a list of all the documents that were generated as a result of pushing this order through.
And that's a lot of files that have been created. Imagine how much time it takes you right now to create only one. And we've seen a bunch of them being created right now. So yeah, it's kind of easy to see the gain of time here.
All automatically.
Yeesh. Well, we've seen all of that going on. And there's an architecture behind that. Behind all of that is the architecture of DriveWorks, all the technology that is running behind. And if it's the rule editor, the form designer, the workflow that are being able to be created, you saw, like Brendan said, different person, different permission to be able to start creating on a project or not. Yep. They can be grouped, they can be just one user, yep. and those permissions are different.
Yep.
So we automated the CAD. We saw also that the models could be also 3D configurable on the web page also. So it's not a SolidWorks model that's heavy to run on the website.
Yep.
Integration of your systems. And finally, inside DriveWorks, there's also the reporting to be able to be sure that once you run a project, it's perfect, because it's going to be able to see if there's errors in that project, right?
Cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
Oh my God. Those expressions I'm not always familiar.
Classic.
All right, so if we go on, I'm asking always the same question. Why are there rules?
Well, unfortunately, the response isn't because they're meant to be broken. And it's actually quite the opposite in this case. Rules, I mean, life has rules, but in particular, a company has rules. Rules for how a product should be made from A until Z. And frankly, a problem that I see across the board very often is that a lot of this knowledge isn't necessarily put somewhere as a procedure to allow new people to be trained, to allow older people to take their retirement. There seems to be a clash of information. These rules can now be put directly into DriveWorks. You don't need to ask yourself, how many reinforcements should I place? You just know that the rule is every 12 inches, put another reinforcement. And because these rules are now put in concrete, you ensure continuity for any scenario that your company may face going forward. All of that knowledge is in a system that runs perfectly every single time it runs.
As you can see, we have a pretty passionate team that does work in those solutions. I'm the first one out there on the line to show you the possibilities of the product. But people like Brandon and the guys on the team, we all are passionate about the product that we care and show you guys. So that passion shows into the result that we do put in. So to summarize a little bit what you saw is how design automated 3D product, how to create a configurator, a CPQ for the sales, a web solution if you desire that. We can go up to there with the DriveWorks Pro solution. So don't hesitate, call us. We'll talk even some more about that. It's now time for a little comparison to see what's out there, because we're not alone. DriveWorks is not the only product that does configure stuff. So we'll take a little look about what's out there. So what is out there? We have 3D CAD, Epicor, and SolidCAD. So maybe Brandon, you can tell us a little bit more about the difference?
Well, I'd say the key difference that I tend to put emphasis on, and you can see like the closest one, all four of those softwares are great. Epicor is probably the closest in comparison when it comes to DriveWorks. The one thing I like to tell everybody is the ease of learning behind DriveWorks. You don't need to be a programmer. I mean, we need to know rules and logic, generally speaking, but these are the rules and logic on how you work. But generally speaking, the interfaces of DriveWorks, understanding how to build interfaces, understanding how to capture models, how to build your project is much easier. In my opinion, the interface is made to be as simple as humanly possible to allow any user to be able to learn how DriveWorks works. And we're not leaving you in the dark with this as soon as you buy DriveWorks. We're always there, obviously, to provide training courses for the basic understanding of being a DriveWorks administrator. But even going forward, if uncertainty still remains to be a problem, we have built full projects for clients in the past where we can teach you how it was built afterwards to keep your autonomy in the process. Because that, to me, is what's most important, is avoiding being dependent on somebody and being able to take control of your own system.
Right. And the main point that I get from you there is that being a flexible, easy to use solution means you can own your solution also.
And you're supported 24/7.
So the main point also that we see in the comparison here is that we are local. We can help you. We're a phone call away, a simple email away, so you get a call also from us. So we do the training, we do the consulting, we do the coaching, support. We're there for you guys, so don't worry about that. All right, so don't forget, get your cameras ready, and please go catch our QR code. There's a special promo for you guys there, and we'll answer you. Thanks.
Now.